Imagine yourself walking through a dense, ancient forest at dusk, the kind where the trees whisper secrets to one another, and the fading light filters through the leaves like golden threads unraveling from the sky. You've always felt things deeply, haven't you? The unspoken pain in a stranger's eyes, the hidden joy in a friend's quiet smile, the invisible currents of emotion that swirl around every human interaction like an unseen river. If that's you, if you've ever absorbed the world's sorrows as if they were your own, carrying them like heavy stones in your chest, then this message is for you. It's a final warning, drawn from the profound depths of Carl Jung's psychology, about those who lurk in the shadows, feeding on your light. Not monsters from fairy tales, but real people, perhaps even those closest to you, who drain the very essence that makes you shine. Stay with me as we journey into the heart of what it means to be an empath in a world that often preys on your empathy, and discover how to reclaim the light that's rightfully yours. Let's begin by understanding the empath's soul, as Jung might have seen it. A vessel attuned to the collective unconscious, that vast ocean of shared human experiences and archetypes that binds us all. Jung, the Swiss psychiatrist who peered into the psyche like an explorer charting uncharted territories, believed that we all carry within us these universal patterns: the hero, the shadow, the anima and animus. But for empaths, this connection runs deeper, almost painfully so. You don't just sense emotions, you become a mirror, reflecting back the unacknowledged parts of others. Picture it. You're at a crowded party, the laughter echoing off the walls like distant thunder. But beneath it all, you feel the undercurrent of loneliness from the man in the corner, nursing his drink as if it were a lifeline. His isolation seeps into you, twisting your gut, making your own heart ache with a sorrow that isn't yours. Jung would say this is your openness to the archetypes, your ability to tap into the shadow, the repressed, darker aspects of the human mind that most people bury deep. But here's the danger, the warning that echoes through his teachings. In your willingness to hold space for others' shadows, you invite those who would exploit it, turning your light into their sustenance. Think about the people in your life who seem to thrive on your energy, those emotional vampires that Jung's ideas illuminate so starkly. They're not always obvious. They don't bear fangs or lurk in the night. Often they're the friend who calls at midnight with endless dramas, pulling you into their chaos until you're exhausted, your own dreams fading like morning mist. Or the partner who subtly undermines your confidence, feeding on your doubts to bolster their own fragile ego. Jung spoke of the persona, the mask we wear to face the world, and how some people become trapped in it, disconnected from their true self. These individuals, lost in their own unintegrated shadows, seek out empaths like you because your light exposes what they can't face alone. But in the process, they siphon it away, leaving you dimmed, questioning your own worth. I've seen it happen time and again in the stories of those who've shared their journeys with me, their voices trembling with the weight of realization. One woman told me how she poured her soul into a relationship, only to wake up one day feeling hollow, as if her inner fire had been stolen breath by breath. It's a subtle theft, wrapped in the guise of connection, but Jung warns us through his exploration of the psyche: beware the ones who feed on your empathy, for they are starving shadows in human form. As we delve deeper, let's explore Jung's concept of the shadow more intimately, because it's here that the true peril for empaths reveals itself, like a hidden path emerging from the fog. The shadow, Jung explained, is that part of ourselves we reject, the anger, the jealousy, the vulnerabilities we shove into the darkness of our unconscious. For most, confronting it is a lifelong quest, but empaths often act as unwitting guides, drawing out others' shadows without realizing the cost. Imagine sitting across from someone you care about, their words laced with unspoken rage, and you absorb it, diffusing it with your calm, your understanding. You become their alchemist, transmuting their darkness into something bearable. But what happens to you? That energy doesn't vanish. It lingers in your bones, weighing you down like wet earth after a storm. Jung's psychology teaches that true integration requires facing one's own shadow, not outsourcing it to another. Yet those who refuse this work, narcissists, manipulators, the chronically wounded, gravitate toward empaths, sensing your innate ability to carry what they cannot. They're feeding on your light, dimming your aura to illuminate their voids. And the warning intensifies. If you don't recognize this dynamic, you'll find yourself depleted, your once vibrant spirit flickering like a candle in the wind. Let me paint a picture for you, drawn from the tapestry of real lives intertwined with Jung's wisdom, to make this warning resonate in your core. There's a young man I once knew, an empath through and through, with eyes that seemed to hold the stories of everyone he met. He worked in a bustling office, surrounded by colleagues who leaned on him for advice, for comfort, for that quiet strength he offered without hesitation. But one coworker, a charismatic leader with a hidden underbelly of insecurity, began to monopolize his time. Late-night emails turned into confessions of doubt, and soon our empath was bearing the brunt of this man's unprocessed fears. Jung would recognize this as projection, the casting of one shadow onto another. The empath's light became the fuel for this parasite, until one day, he collapsed under the strain, his own creativity stifled, his joy eclipsed. It's a story echoed in countless therapy sessions, in the quiet admissions of those who've lost themselves to others' needs. The emotional rhythm builds here, doesn't it? That slow creep of exhaustion, the mounting tension as boundaries blur, leading to a peak where the empath must choose. Continue feeding the shadows, or reclaim their light. Now, as the narrative turns toward the heart of this warning, feel the shift in the air, like the moment before a thunderstorm breaks, charged with potential and peril. Jung's psychology isn't just about identifying the threats, it's about empowerment, about awakening to the archetypes within and without. Empaths, you are the healers, the intuitives, connected to the anima, the feminine soul principle that Jung described as the bridge to the unconscious. Your light is a beacon, drawing in the lost, but it must be guarded. Those feeding on it aren't always malicious. Sometimes they're simply unconscious, trapped in their own archetypal struggles. Yet the effect is the same. Your energy wanes, your boundaries erode, and the world feels heavier on your shoulders. Picture a garden at dawn, your soul as the blooming flowers reaching for the sun, but weeds, those energy drainers, choke the soil, stealing the nutrients meant for you. Jung urges integration, not avoidance. Face your own shadow first, the parts of you that crave approval through overgiving, the hidden resentments from years of absorption. This is the emotional peak, the turning point where curiosity gives way to urgency. If you don't heed this warning, your light could be extinguished, leaving you adrift in a sea of others' emotions. But let's not linger in the darkness without offering a path forward. For Jung's work is ultimately one of hope, of wholeness achieved through awareness. As we move toward reflection, imagine emerging from that forest we started in, the trees parting to reveal a clearing bathed in moonlight, symbolizing the reclaimed self. To protect your light, start with boundaries, not walls, but gentle fences woven from self-respect. Learn to say no without guilt, recognizing that true empathy doesn't require self-sacrifice. Jung's process of individuation calls for this, becoming whole by integrating all parts of yourself, shadow included. Surround yourself with those who reciprocate, who feed your light as you do theirs, creating a cycle of mutual illumination rather than depletion. Meditate on the archetypes. Journal your encounters with energy vampires, seeing them not as enemies, but as mirrors reflecting what you need to heal within. One empath I spoke with transformed her life by this practice. She visualized her light as a sacred flame, shielding it with intention, and watched as the drainers faded from her orbit. It's a resolution laced with warmth, a call to authenticity that echoes Jung's belief in the psyche's innate drive toward balance. Yet the warning remains etched in the narrative, a subtle hook pulling you to carry this wisdom forward. In a world that often values empathy as currency, remember, your light is not infinite if unguarded. Those feeding on it may not stop until you've nothing left to give. But armed with Jung's insights, you can shine brighter, not just for others, but for the profound, beautiful soul that is uniquely yours. As the screen fades, carry this with you. The forest awaits, but now you walk with eyes wide open, your light a guiding star in the night. And there, in that moonlit clearing, with the cool night air brushing against your skin like a gentle reassurance, you begin to feel the shift. Not a dramatic thunderclap, but a quiet, profound awakening, the kind Jung described as the stirring of the self, that central archetype of wholeness rising from the depths of the psyche. It's as if the forest itself exhales with you, releasing the burdens you've carried for so long, the echoes of others' shadows that clung to your light like vines. This is the true resolution for the empath. Not to dim yourself to match the world's darkness, but to integrate, to protect, and ultimately, to radiate even more fiercely. Jung's warning wasn't meant to instill fear, but to ignite vigilance, because your empathy is a gift from the collective unconscious, a bridge to deeper human connection, and those who feed on it without reciprocity are disrupting the sacred balance. Yet, in reclaiming your boundaries, you don't close off. You open to authentic exchanges, where light meets light and shadows are faced together. Let me take you deeper into this reclamation, painting the journey with the vivid strokes of those who've walked it before you, their stories woven into the fabric of Jung's timeless insights. Consider the woman who, after years of being the emotional anchor for her family, found herself adrift in resentment, her once boundless compassion turning bitter like overripe fruit. She delved into Jung's writings on projection and enantiodromia, the turning of one extreme into its opposite, and realized that her overgiving was her own shadow at play, the unacknowledged need to feel indispensable, masking a fear of abandonment. In therapy, she began the work of individuation, confronting these hidden parts through active imagination, Jung's technique of dialoguing with the unconscious, as if it were a living entity. Visions came to her in dreams, a radiant figure of light, herself unburdened, standing firm as others' storms raged around, but no longer pierced her core. She learned to visualize a golden shield, not impenetrable but selective, allowing in only what nourished her soul. And slowly, miraculously, the energy drainers fell away, not through confrontation, but through the subtle shift in her vibration, her light no longer an open invitation for consumption. It's a testament to the psyche's resilience, that when we heed the warning and turn inward, the external world aligns in profound ways. As the narrative flows onward, feel the emotional rhythm building once more, this time toward empowerment, like the steady rise of dawn chasing away the night's lingering chill. Jung emphasized that empaths, with their heightened sensitivity to the archetypal realm, are often the catalysts for others' growth, but only when they refuse to be sacrificed on the altar of unbalanced giving. Those feeding on your light, whether through constant crisis, subtle manipulation, or the quiet expectation of endless availability, are enacting an ancient pattern, the psychic vampire archetype that lurks in myths across cultures, from the succubus to the energy-leeching spirits of folklore. Jung might interpret this as a failure of individuation on their part, a refusal to integrate their anima or animus, leading them to seek completion externally. But you, dear empath, hold the power to break the cycle. Start small. Notice the physical sensations when you're with certain people, the tightening in your chest, the sudden fatigue like a heavy cloak descending. These are signals from your body, that wise guardian of the unconscious, alerting you to the drain. Pause, breathe, and ask yourself Jung's profound question: what in this interaction is mine, and what belongs to them? In that moment of discernment lies freedom, the gentle assertion that your light is sacred, not sustenance for the unhealed. Imagine now a series of scenes unfolding like a cinematic montage, each one a step deeper into protection and renewal. You sit alone in a quiet room, candle flickering softly, journaling the patterns you've observed, the way certain conversations leave you exhilarated or utterly spent. You draw mandalas, Jung's own practice for centering the psyche, circles of intricate design that symbolize the self's unity, incorporating symbols of light, suns, stars, flames guarded by serene figures. Over time, these rituals build an inner fortress, not of stone but of awareness, where you can observe others' shadows without absorbing them. Then comes the testing ground, the next encounter with a habitual drainer. Perhaps it's a family member whose complaints flow like an endless river, pulling you under. This time, you listen with compassion, but when the pull intensifies, you gently redirect. I care about what you're going through, but I need to take care of myself too. The words feel foreign at first, laced with guilt's sharp edge, but as you hold the boundary, a warmth spreads within, the glow of self-respect reigniting your core. Jung would smile at this, seeing it as the confrontation with the persona's over-adaptation to others, paving the way for true authenticity. And here's where the story reaches its most luminous peak, the emotional crescendo that leaves you transformed, standing taller in your own light. As you consistently honor these practices, something alchemical occurs. The very people who once fed on you either step up, beginning their own shadow work inspired by your quiet strength, or they drift away, seeking easier sources. Your circle refines itself, attracting fellow travelers on the path of consciousness, other empaths, integrated souls who exchange energy in beautiful reciprocity. Conversations deepen, connections flourish without the undertow of depletion, and your creativity surges like a river unleashed. Dreams become vivid portals to the unconscious, offering guidance and affirmation. You realize that Jung's warning was a loving admonition, a call to heroism. The empath as the modern-day initiate, descending into the collective shadows not to be consumed, but to emerge with treasures of wisdom for all. Your light, once vulnerable to theft, now burns with an unquenchable intensity, illuminating not just your path, but casting gentle rays on those ready to awaken. In this reflection, as the forest fades into memory and the clearing expands into an endless horizon, carry this final resonance with you. The world needs empaths like you, sensitive, profound, attuned to the unseen, but it needs you whole, radiant, and protected. Those who would feed on your light without giving back are part of the human tapestry, reminders of the work we all must do. But you, having heeded this warning through the lens of Jung's enduring psychology, step forward with grace and power. Your empathy evolves into enlightened compassion, selective yet boundless, a force that heals without harming the healer. And in quiet moments, when you feel that familiar pull, remember the moonlit clearing, the shield of awareness, the flame within that no shadow can extinguish. This is your birthright, your individuation unfolding. Shine on, unapologetically, for in guarding your light, you gift the world its truest illumination.